Hello out there, and welcome to the No Shit Cast. I'm your host, Matt Frazier. Sitting in the hot seat with me tonight, as usual, none other than the Gray Wizard of historical knowledge himself, Mr. Eric Smith. I'm glad you wore your wizard robes and brought your pointy hat and everything tonight, man. That's really good. I'm digging that about you now. You're dressing the part, as it were.
Oh, yeah. I'm growing the beard out, too.
Yeah. You got your staff over there in the corner with the little glowing orb on top of it and all. That's pretty neat, man.
I got spells memorized.
So how you doing?
I am happy.
You happy, man?
I'm happy.
All right. So we got a basket, I guess, of articles that we can discuss tonight and some cool shit. And we've been kind of hanging out here talking a little bit before the show. So well lubricated and ready to dispense with the information, would you say?
Well, certainly I'm ready for some tomfoolery.
Should we give everybody a chance to Google what tomfoolery means?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not doing articles from Big Think anymore.
Oh, yeah? Why is that?
I'm not doing it. They shared an article, did an article not too long ago that was one of them readily disprovable type of debunked 6 months ago kind of things, and it's very clickbaity and very, and I was like, oh wow, man, there you go, and that's all it takes. So. Yep. Once I saw that, I was like, well, we're not doing them anymore. And other than maybe to just pan the shit out of them, but they've been taken out of my rotation as of now. So I thought I'd put that disclaimer out there and why.
We do have levels.
There are some levels of what we accept here, right?
Now, bearing that in mind.
All right, so this one comes from Huffington Post. Speaking of levels, high levels.
Yeah, that's supposed to be reputable.
Former manager of DoD Aerospace Threat Program, quote, UFOs are real. That's an oxymoron, isn't it, Eric?
Well, there are definitely things that we don't know what they are that we see occasionally that do fly and that look to be material objects.
But yeah, but unidentified flying objects are a thing is probably the better way to, like, as an actual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are,
real.
right?
Yeah, real, yeah.
That doesn't mean that they're spacecraft or whatever, right?
Oh, not necessarily.
Something extraordinary was revealed today. Former high-level officials and scientists with deep black experience. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm skeptical. Who have always remained in the shadows, came forward on one platform. These insiders have long-standing connections to government agencies, which may have programs investigating unidentified aerial phenomena. Well, that's a new one, UAPs. The team includes a 25-year veteran of the CIA's Directorate of Operations, a Lockheed Martin program director for advanced systems at Skunk Works, and a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence. That's a whole lot of credentials, man.
Assuming that that's all true, that is.
That's a lot of credentials. But that is assuming that that's all true.
Yeah, right.
Huffington Post.
Yeah. Well. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Today marked the official launch of To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, TTS/AAS, an innovative public benefit. Innovative Public Benefit Corporation, which will advance research into unexplained phenomena and develop related technology. It has established 3 synergistic divisions: science, aerospace, and entertainment. Quote, we believe there are discoveries within our reach that will revolutionize the human experience, says company president and CEO Tom DeLonge, maybe? Please see my previous story. No. Released yesterday for background on today's announcements, which was live streamed and is archived on the company's website. So does this make sense yet?
No, I got a little lost with how this ties into what the first paragraph was talking about.
Right, like now we're talking.
I assume the third paragraph is going to reveal it to me. I don't know.
According to a TTS/AAS statement, Its team members, who have been, quote, operating under the shadows of top secrecy for decades, believe that there is sufficient credible evidence of UAPs that proves exotic technologies exist that could revolutionize the human experience.
There is a lot up here saying that.
Doesn't this sound very much reminiscent of the same story we were also getting from?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, Lazar.
Bob Lazar,
Yeah.
right.
No, so let me understand. Make sure I understand that paragraph correctly. The TTS/AAS is the people that you just referred to above with the three branches.
Yeah, they created like this some sort of corporation that was aerospace, whatever, science and entertainment. To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. That's what it stands for.
Okay, those guys they're saying members of their society down there, and that
yes
have confirmed to them that they actually had ties to the CIA and the government, and that has said.
Well, it's saying that these people are actual members of this organization, right? That have been working in like deep black. What they call deep black operations or whatever.
Deep black experience.
Deep black, Eric. Deep.
I don't know. Okay. Poorly worded, but nevertheless. I don't know. It's okay. So they're saying that they were connected to the government.
And that the government is suppressing technologies that could be used for the benefit of humanity.
And this is not the entertainment division that's saying this,
See,
right?
that's the question, right? That sort of jumped out at me. It's like we're not saying that that's it or isn't it. You know, this could all be like a media scam type thing. This could represent the beginning of a trend towards a new openness on the part of the U.S. government. These people know more than any of us, and they will be releasing important data on UAP in the future.
In the future.
Always in the future.
God is coming back in the future.
Yeah,
maybe
some
soon
beachfront property in Arizona, right, or whatever.
In the future.
As an investigative reporter with a long-standing interest in this subject, who has worked with a few Academy team members in the past, I was shown some of the data at a meeting with them on October 4th. I guess it was last year, huh? Present for that 4-hour-long meeting was Luis Elizondo, who ran an important program at the DoD. Elizondo is a senior career intelligence officer whose experience includes working with the U.S. Army, the Department of Defense, and the National Counterintelligence Executive.
That's interesting. Counterintelligence executive.
Right, like the opposite of intelligence?
Yeah, like spreading rumors and misdirection.
Well, then he also worked for the Director of National Intelligence, too.
I see.
Both sides of that fence. He served as the director for the National Program's Special Management Staff in the Office of the Secretary of Defense. He is also the former director of programs to investigate unidentified aerial threats for the Office of the Secretary of Defense. Lou will architect partnerships with some very sensitive places to help protect us and the technology involved so we may achieve for you the extraordinary, DeLong said at today's events. What the fuck? So are they like they're setting themselves up as to be the only people allowed to like? Okay, so am I understanding this that they're saying, well, these technologies exist and we're going to be the ones that's sort of metering them out to humanity or some weird thing here because we're working with all these people that have inside information?
I'm not sure what that means, but I would accept that as the likeliest possibility of what
he's talking about. This Luis Elizondo.
Yeah.
Okay. Lou will architect partnerships with some very sensitive places.
Right, like the DoD maybe.
Okay, to help protect us and the technology involved. Well, the only way that they ever protect anything is by hiding and suppressing it, right?
Well, maybe protecting it from corporate espionage, maybe?
So that we may achieve for you the extraordinary.
Yeah, so they're talking about protecting it from other people getting these secrets that they have, like corporate espionage, and so that they can, like you said, deliver it themselves.
I mean, okay.
Sounds like it. That's
it
what
does,
I got
right? It's like they're putting themselves in place as the arbiter of this stuff.
Yeah.
Lou, the nickname for Luis, I figured that out already.
You
Thanks.
did.
Had resigned his position at the DoD literally the day before we met. I was able to verify who he was and what his tasks were at the Pentagon. He received the highest commendations from his superiors. I was told that important unclassified data and documentation are expected to be released through the Academy's online community of interest in collaboration with the U.S. government, which will be set up soon. Like, who gets to decide that this is how this is all going to happen?
Well, apparently the government, the way they're saying, it's set up between them and the government, so the government must have sanctioned them and put these people that they're talking about as the intermediaries between the government and this organization to distribute this information out to the public, I guess.
Well, but the best way to take what would then be public information would be to move it into the private domain, where it could easily be hidden as like corporate secrets and stuff like this, so that, again, now freedom of information requests and all that, none of that matters anymore. So I guess that's the paranoid person in me. I'm going to get in trouble with the Illuminati for that.
Uh-oh.
I asked him if these unidentified objects were considered to be threats. They did not exhibit overt hostility, he said, but something unexplained is always assumed to be a potential threat until we are certain it isn't.
That's not a good statement.
Kill it with fire.
Look, yeah, we don't know what it is, but we're pretty sure it's going to be threatening until we see otherwise. It's not a good way to go into that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's the everything, it has the potential to be a threat until you know what it is.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's a very paranoid way to view the world, but whatever. That's very lizard brain shit, right?
Yeah.
Everything's going to eat me, so I better be paranoid about everything first.
Exactly.
We don't live in the world of saber-toothed tigers anymore, Mr. Smith. I asked him if, we already did that. At the event today, Elizondo explained his work this way, quote, I am accustomed to being involved in close-hold, nuanced programs involving national security. This includes being a counterintelligence special agent, case officer, and intelligence practitioner. However, by far the most interesting effort I was involved with was the topic of advanced aerial threats. So he's a spook. He's like a dyed-in-the-wool from the community kind of person. That's basically what he's admitting to. He stated that he ran a, quote, sensitive aerospace threat identification program focusing on unidentified aerial technologies. His job at TTSAAS will be, quote, to work as a liaison and interlocutor in the collection of this information for the science division, allowing us to collect facts for analysis. How will this be done? One way is through the COI. I don't remember what that meant. That was from up above, which will provide a platform for the detection and triangulation of phenomena events in real time and allows two-way communication between the public and our, see here again, the public and our team regarding this information.
Yeah, the public must be considered to be that corporation.
Well, no, the public would be us. Our team is the corporation.
Oh, well.
You see what I'm saying? It's
okay.
like they're putting like, okay, so now we're going to be the gatekeepers for this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what gives you the right to do that? Like, how do you end up being the ones that get to meter this stuff out to the general public?
Well, I guess because...
probably because none of it's actually true. Right?
Well, I mean, if it is something that the government has in their possession or in the Pentagon, wouldn't it be government liaison people who would distribute that into the public?
No, man. Like, with this kind of stuff, that's public information in a sense. So it has it's rarely, if ever, arbitrated through one single source. Like if the government comes up with something, a lot of times it'll, as I understand it, it'll be kicked out to multiple universities for study and research kind of thing, public universities and things. And but now that's not entirely true. There's been some corporatizing of some shit, especially in like pharmaceuticals and this kind of thing. That's kind of sketchy. Mm-hmm. I feel. But it's never like that I'm aware of ever like, okay, all of this really highly sensitive information, let's say it's real, is now all going to be filtered through this entity that just created itself and turned into a corporation. You know, it's like, what do you mean that's what's going to happen? Who decided that? Like, who gets to ask that question? And where do they get the power to have the rights over all this information to be able to do this? And they're saying, well, because we're all former spies and we're all former intelligence people and all this kind of shit, that makes us experts. No, that makes you experts at keeping the shit from people, but it doesn't mean you're any more qualified than, say, a scientist or a researcher at a university to disseminate this information and research.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's kind of what my rub on this. At least that's the way this is feeling to me. I had no idea what we were getting into here, bud. I didn't mean to jump into such a heavy subject matter off the bat.
It's all good, though.
Okay, so as a result of his position managing the DoD program for almost a decade, Lou said, I learned that the phenomena is indeed real. In short, less than 2 weeks after leaving the Pentagon, Luis Elizondo confirmed that UFOs are real. They exist. That's a weird way to write that. And they have been officially documented. Can anyone argue with this fact now, given where this man comes from and what he knows? Yeah, because he comes from the spook community. It could be completely a disinformation campaign, right? As a matter of fact, who would be the most qualified to do that if that were the case?
Yeah, that dude.
So I don't know that this gives us any kind of validity at all.
Well, if they're going to release something, I guess that would.
But why are we supposed to trust this when only once?
Well,
you know what I mean?
They release it to the public, then it would be able to be verified if it actually exists.
Oh, you mean the information that they do release?
Or items, information or items.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but it still pisses me off that it's only, like, they're not giving this to truly to the public. They give it to a private corporation.
I don't think they're going to give anything to anyone.
Because they don't have anything to give.
That's what I think.
Yeah. A former high-ranking DoD official who only left his position last week has confirmed that an official UFO program exists. It still doesn't mean anything. Answering a question so many have debated and speculated about for decades. Again, this is the same group of people that said you should be paranoid about everything until you figure out what it really is. So, Of course, there's a UFO program, right?
And, of course, it's a threat.
It is very important to understand that Lou does not speak for the DoD. Since he is no longer employed there, he speaks independently as part of the TTS Academy. So this is the same guy that's going to form the relationships that are going to...
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure we understand that nuance there, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I guess, I don't know.
Doesn't that seem fishy to you?
Yeah. Unless the intent was always there for him to leave the government and then be an intermediary between the government and the citizens.
I mean, that's what they do, like in investment banking and stuff. They just go from, like, the people that monitor that shit, and then they go to work for the people that they were monitoring and back and forth, right? So maybe this is just the new version of that. Let's see. Lou also stated, quote, we are planning to provide never before released footage from real U.S. government systems. Nothing again to do with their entertainment division.
Right.
Okay.
No.
Not blurry.
Nothing to do with their entertainment division.
Nothing to do with that entertainment division. Amateur photos, but real data and real videos. And even more significant, quote, we are inviting our government colleagues and friends in defense to participate regularly with their own findings.
Okay.
Maybe we're just too skeptical. Is that what it is?
I am. It's a smoke screen.
It sure feels that way, doesn't it? Like right inside the seams of all this is a shit ton of questions to me that don't make any sense. This looks like a propaganda piece to me versus any kind of actual factual information.
Well, I guess, again, hopefully, I don't know. I mean, they're going to have something other than videos that aren't blurry for people to believe in anything.
Yeah, no kidding. And they're going to have empirical review and third-party validation.
Yeah, because we're talking about craft that can travel faster than the speed of light. There's going to have to be some obvious difference that's beyond what we know. It's not going to be like some unidentifiable metal.
It's element 115 or whatever that is, right? Is that what it was? 115?
I think so.
That's what it is. We just don't know how to machine it right.
Maybe.
Another member of the team, Stephen Justice, an experienced aerospace engineer, explained that he will use scientific discoveries about the travel of UAP through space. There you go. Demonstrating almost unimaginable technology to develop technology that can change the world.
Okay. All right.
Steve recently retired as a program director for advanced systems at Lockheed Martin after a 31-year career in the Skunk Works. You know what Skunk Works is. It's where, like, the SR-71 spy plane came from and the F-117, like all that spy shit.
What was that new one? The T...
The B-2?
No, T something. I sent you.
I don't remember.
Me either. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that sort of thing.
He says, quote, how dare we think that the physics we have today is all that there is?
How dare you?
Here we go, man. He told me in an interview a few days ago, The opportunity here, as he sees it, is to stand in the future and look back. Very profound.
Well, I really want there to be substantiation to this story. I really hope that they're able to do exactly what they said, to demonstrate technology far beyond what we have now, especially in the area of propulsion, which was the very thing that I was mentioning, and that it is, metaphorically speaking, that once this is released to the public, it will be like we are in the future looking back.
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
It would be. I hope that that is the case. I hope that is the case.
But do I get a hoverboard?
You might.
And a lightsaber?
I would imagine.
Wouldn't you think?
I would guess. I mean, these things are possible with enough energy as it is.
You would think, right?
Yeah, so why not?
Yeah, you're right, because that's the limiting factor, really, when you get down to it, is do you have enough energy to move past the speed of light?
Right, and that's what he's saying, that there's different physics out there that somehow we can access. Like when Star Trek does their warp drive and it creates a warp around their ship and puts them into a different universe with different physics that allows them to travel faster than the speed of light.
Right.
Maybe there is such a thing. That's what he's alluding to. That to think that it's like crazy to think that our physics is the only
physics. Yeah.
And that's certainly what some of the people that we've had on the show have been saying as well.
Well, but it's an incomplete picture. Even the standard model is an incomplete picture, right? However, that does not necessarily mean that all of the standard model is wrong.
Right. But if somebody had some definitive proof that they were able to demonstrate and then dole out to universities to capitalize on to make humanity better, that'd be the shit, dude.
Just because you can do it in a lab doesn't mean it's real until I can do it in a lab without you being involved, and 7 other people can do it in a lab without you being involved.
And it sounds like that's what they're saying, that this is going to better humanity, that once they release it, the other people will figure out other things to do with it, and it will change everything.
Right.
What I'm hearing, at least.
Steve's objective is to harvest this advanced technology to build a vehicle that will allow for almost instantaneous travel throughout land, air, oceans, and space by engineering the fabric of space-time.
All right.
Okay. Profound. Such a vehicle could also float like something from science fiction.
Yep.
Steve says we have had glimpses of the science that could make this possible. It is not outside the realm of possibility if the necessary resources are in place.
Red energy.
Red energy?
Yeah, like you should say, if the necessary energy is available. It's like they're not outside the realm of physics, which is true what he's saying, isn't? Since it revolves upon manipulating space-time, but as long as there's enough energy. When he says resources in place.
That's what he read it as energy. Not red energy like dark energy.
Red as
energy.
Like reread that last bit and just,
And instead of the word resources, use the word energy.
Because it's not outside the realm of physics. It's true. The only mitigating factor has only and ever been energy. I think there's a book that Kip Thorne wrote about time travel and traveling faster than light and things of that nature, where he talked about this sort of manipulation in front of a vehicle so that you were kind of folding space in front of it and falling into
the void, right? You're constantly chasing the void that's being cast in front of you, kind of thing. Yep. Yeah, I've heard that before. And I think that's kind of what the Star Trek sort of idea of.
Well, they warp completely out of normal space and into a whole different place where physics works differently, and they're able to actually use conventional means to travel faster than light. So their engines per se are engines that make them go faster than the speed of light, but they have to drop out of normal space to do it. When you see it on TV, you still see them going by in space, but presumably there's a warp bubble around them. They probably would be, but in the show they show.
They got to show something, right?
Yeah,
they say, look outer space, and then we're at the next planet, right?
Right. Yeah, but they're supposed to fade out into subspace kind of, and then go faster and then pop back in.
Yeah. TTS Academy member Chris Mellon served as a Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence for 2 administrations, and early in his career drafted the legislation that established the U.S. Special Operations Command. Oh, God, SOCOM. At a time when terrorism was not yet on the radar. He presented an overview of a 2004 incident involving the aircraft carrier USS Nimitz, which was detected on 2 separate radars. This is that Navy thing again, where the Navy ran into.
Yeah.
Two F-18s approach. The four aviators see the object has no wings or exhaust. It is white, oblong, some 40 feet long, and perhaps 12 feet thick, he said. One pilot pursues the craft while his wingman stays high. The pilots are astonished to see the object suddenly reorient itself toward the approaching F-18. In a series of discrete tumbling maneuvers that seem to defy the laws of physics, the object takes a position directly behind the approaching F-18. The lengthy event occurred in broad daylight off the California coast, and gun camera footage was taken. At one point, the object went from hovering at 80,000 feet to dropping at supersonic speeds and came to a complete stop at 50 feet above the ocean. More F-18s are dispatched, but with similar results, Mellon stated. The secret machine easily evades the F-18s. Dozens of military personnel aboard the various planes and ships involved are privy to these interactions. So, you want to know what this says to me? What my immediate...
I think I know, but tell me, lay it on me.
Is what's happened here is this is some shit that the government's working on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all these now in like the Department of Defense and stuff. There's all these verticals of organizations that don't communicate necessarily with each other.
Yep.
Okay. So the Nimitz happened to be out here doing its Navy sailor thing, right? And they were out there running tests, and all of this shit got captured, recorded, and disseminated to too many people before they could actually put a lid on it of any kind. And now they've said, well, this shit exists. So now here's this private organization that no government entity has any kind of control over, and we're going to disseminate the information through them to you, the public, for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to do shit because basically they've got caught with their finger in the cookie jar. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that in every aspect. And the only thing I might add to that is they may have even intentionally done this. They may have intentionally wanted to test the craft out with the top, versus the top conventional equipment that we currently have, and that the only way to do it would have also been a sacrifice and for sure letting someone have good footage of what they're doing, right? But nevertheless, they needed to test it out and see what it could actually do in combat with things like this. And it sounds like it just smoked them. So, instead of having the government go crazy and worry about it, maybe they're just saying, oh, yep, here's what's going on, just like you said, this company. So, yeah, maybe so. And if it comes from alien technology,
great, let's see it.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, let's see it. I'm ready, man.
What do you think about this having to do anything with the September 20th issue?
Well, and then the recent popularity of Bob Lazar's podcast and some of the stuff. Yeah, I find this all to be... Well, see, I think that, of course, the Bob Lazar documentary was made, I think, before the F-18 Navy thing happened. But it's really interesting that sort of came out. Then the Bob Lazar podcast on Rogan and his...
Well, he'd been studying that for a long time, consistently.
But the Netflix documentary and then the subsequent Joe Rogan Experience podcast, all of these things have kind of happened, bam, bam, bam. And then after that, now we got the September 20th air quotes invasion of Area 51.
It'd be really handy if that was the case. There'd be some national implications, right? Because from what I'm understanding, if we treat this like this is the actual case and we have this kind of UFO technology, the implication that I'm hearing now is that perhaps we're the only nation that actually has this stuff.
Purportedly.
Yeah.
Or we're deriving that based on the information available.
Yeah, if they're going to start disseminating it like that, maybe we've got some kind of capitalized hold on it in some fashion, right? If they've had it long enough, if this is what they're saying it is, and they've had it since was when Roswell, wasn't it the 50s?
That was like the 50s, right?
Yeah, if they've had it for that long, and they've been able to turn it into weapons and weaponize it, that's the only reason they would probably disseminate it down into other things after that. So,
there's no doubt, man, that space exploration has had tremendous impacts on society in general. Like, we get Velcro because of space exploration, right? I mean, that's a real thing.
But you get that stuff like after the fact, after they're done with it. We got miniature cameras because of the Cold War,
right?
And miniaturization in general.
Right. Exactly, because they were better spy cameras, things that could be hidden easier.
All kinds of things.
Yeah. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Now listen to this, okay?
Okay.
And okay,
Okay.
Tom DeLonge's final message today sums up the position of all involved. Quote, no one person, one government, or one hidden institution should own this information and technology. Now, did I just fucking completely misread that entire article somehow? Or isn't that exactly what they're doing?
Well, I don't know, man. If they're literally releasing this shit to the public, then they're giving it up no matter what.
I don't know, man. Like I said, that just kind of boggles my mind.
It sounds like they're releasing their hold on it. It sounds like they've got shit
like fucking
bigger
Orwellian,
than they know the bigger than they can handle, and they just need to release it so that people can utilize it because it's beyond their ability if they're going to keep it secret. That's the very thing that you brought up in one of the podcasts we did. You said that there's only so much you're going to find out about something if you're looking at it through these decompartmentalized people and groups, and then you're keeping it really secretive. Yeah.
That was his thing. He said
his thing. Yeah,
because of the way they keep it all so compartmentalized, but it inhibits any kind of actual study or research.
So, what's there? One more paragraph there.
The TTS Academy intends to release game-changing information of the type interested people may have been seeking for a long time. Well, there's a worm on a hook. Quote, the fact is, we might not necessarily be alone, Luis Elizondo says. Now is the time to move forward and to try to answer some of life's deepest mysteries.
And when is this supposed to happen?
Well, that's the other thing. They just say that it's going to be coming in the
near future. Okay.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's my near future.
Did you ever see the movie, what was it called? The Money Pit?
Nope.
No, it's a comedy. You didn't watch it. Never mind.
So before we move on.
Okay. 2 weeks.
Well.
Yeah.
You want it to stop for a minute and think about the implications.
Okay.
All right. So let's assume that
this is legit.
That's legitimate.
Okay.
And that this is going to happen, right? Probably the most disturbing or philosophical thing out of any of this would be the implication of not being alone, right?
It would be profound on a, planetary level, right? I mean, it would be huge.
Right.
For that to
It'd
come
be
out.
even huger than if they had a way of having anti-gravity and we literally were able to have hoverboards and shit, right? Like even if our life changed like that or we had a sustainable energy source.
Because of the mathematics, yeah, I mean, it's like, forget about the odds of winning the lottery kind of thing here. This is...
Yeah, even if we get a benefit from this and humanity thrives because of that, still bigger than that would be the implications that it's actually ancient alien technology, right?
Did this say ancient, though? I don't know that it's implying that. Of course, I don't really know what it's implying, to be honest with you, other than I don't know what it's implying.
Right, yeah.
There's so many holes in that. But, okay, how profound is that, then, to society to find out that we're not the only intelligent species in the universe? Like, what happens? Okay, so today you find that out, that there are aliens. What happens tomorrow? Do you still go to work? You know what I mean? Like, what
yeah, you still go to work because you're still living under the precepts of your life. You're still going to need to pay your bills and get money, and you're still going to go to work. Some people won't take it well. Some people will, just like anything.
I've always struggled with this because I've heard this theory that the government suppresses all of this because if the public were to find out about it, there would be mass chaos and hysteria and all this crazy shit. And I'm trying to figure out why there would be all of these things. Why would there be all of these things?
It's probably...
if they attacked the planet, I could get mass chaos and hysteria.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if that's true, man. I don't know if that's true.
What do you mean that there would be or wouldn't be?
No, I don't know. I don't think that there'd be mass hysteria.
Right.
There might be mass hysteria if a alien spaceship lands in a city, right?
Well, as panic as people try to get the fuck away from it.
Well, yeah.
Right.
I mean, even in other cities and other countries, that's going to be a big deal, dude.
Right.
That's completely different. There's something up. Like if this is real, there's something up, right? Like if this technology exists, that means that all this time there wouldn't be a way that we could have stopped these aliens from landing if they would have wanted to, right?
You want to know, what the implications for me here is?
What?
If you've got fucking energy sources that are capable of doing this shit and you haven't told us about it,
yeah,
I'm pissed.
Well, sure, but
I'm really, really pissed because that technology is a hindrance. Not having that technology has been a hindrance to the betterment of humanity.
But
so
why hasn't the aliens come back since the 50s? What's stopping them? It's definitely not our technology.
Have you been paying attention to society at large? I mean, like,
well, you're saying they're still coming, right?
No, I'm saying maybe they came, looked around, and went, "Fuck this! These people are messed up, man. We're out of here."
Split.
You know?
Okay, so
split.
All right. So assuming that's the case, right?
Right.
Yeah. And you want to know what it like. It's not gonna change shit, is it? Right? People's gonna go to work,
and
they're gonna be like,
right?
Yeah.
People are still gonna go to work. People are still gonna love their kids or kick their dog. Whatever they were doing, they're still gonna do it, but they're gonna do it with the knowledge that there's other intelligent life in the universe.
And it's not like they'll be ashamed, right? And when they change, they'll just be, "Fuck you. We're gonna use your shit."
I think that you could see institutions
dedicating themselves to things.
I think that you could see things like certain religious institutions and stuff being paranoid of these kind of revelations.
Do you think the institutions of science and religion would
I don't think they should be necessarily. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you think the institutions of science and religion would spring up around this idea?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but how
we're already seeing the Vatican sort of taking a stance that if there is intelligent life, that we all worship the same God.
Yeah.
Or something to that effect. That's what I mean. Like, I don't know that even religious institutions need to feel threatened by this. They just need to widen their scope a little bit more. Boom, you got more people donating. Life's good, right?
Yeah.
And they know how to get asteroids that are pure gold that are out sitting out here.
Now, can you imagine how many science fiction movies would start coming out?
It would have an impact that way on the public zeitgeist as far as how we considered, everything from a cosmological sense. I think it would have enormous implications that way.
Scientists would be pretty vindicated. They've been saying how prolific life is. Hell, I mentioned it. When did I mention that to you today?
Yeah, well, that's the paradox, the Fermi paradox, right? Is that where?
Well, no, that's why what people used to explain why there hasn't been any evidence of this. But now, if there was evidence, then that would vindicate all the people that use the Drake equation that talks about.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Yep. Well, and then you're going to obviously get all those people that were anal probed and have been ridiculed by society.
That's right.
And all of them are going to be coming back out now and saying, I'm vindicated. I want my restitutions. Them bitches stuck things in my butt. Now it's payback time. But none of this validates that any of that shit actually happened either, right? Because correlation is not causality necessarily.
But it would be interesting to see how society would react. I don't think there would be chaos, but there would definitely be weird changes, man. There would be a prevalence of a lot of nerdy shit that people pretty much dismissed as nerdy shit. Well, that would suddenly be gospel.
It's kind of like when we went to the moon, but didn't. It was filmed on a soundstage by Stanley Kubrick. It's kind of like when we went to the moon, right?
Yeah, but we don't even have access to anything from the moon. If these guys release actual technology from an alien civilization for people to use, that's an unprecedented thing that's never happened before. I mean, you can say that they didn't land on the moon because you don't have nothing tangible that helps you in your life that tells you that they did. But if these guys fucking roll out anti-gravity and shit, it's going to change everything in everyone's life everywhere. And there's going to be no denying the fact that there's aliens and that they exist. And that's going to be a whole different thing, man.
When when the stealth fighter, the F-117, made its public appearance, not in a war, but I mean, showed up at air shows and stuff, started showing up at air shows and stuff like that. It was talked about that a lot of these new aircraft technologies obviously have derivatives from extraterrestrials because of the advancements that they're making with them and stuff. And then I worked at Naval Air Station Oceana in Virginia Beach, and we had air shows. So we had the duty sometimes of being they called it a watch. And basically you walked around, made sure the aircraft weren't in danger, they didn't blow a tire, they weren't leaking fuel. If they were, you put a piss can. You put a trash can under it and caught the fuel so it didn't get all over the flight deck and stuff, right? So it's like a fire and security watch, okay? Well, but we were on the flight line at night when all the aircraft were there, when there weren't any other people, like the air show wasn't open yet. So they didn't have like the barricades and stuff up around the airplanes. So buddies and I, like there was an F-117 there. And we were the ones guarding it, so to speak, right? So it was, fuck yeah, man, let's go check this thing out, because we worked on F-14s. It wasn't like we were foreign to being around aircraft. And you would think like, oh, this is some space age level shit. No, man, when you get up close to these things, and if you understand airframes and power plants, if you work on airplanes and you start looking at them, they're not anything extraordinary. They have a real ejection seat in them. They have real avionics in them. You know what I mean? Like, there's no special reactor power plant. There's a place where you put the fucking JP, 5 and JP3 fuel hose on the airplane to fill it up with the same gas that this 1970s technology airplane uses, and it really dispelled a lot of that for me. But I think there's a mystery to that stuff when you see it as someone who's doesn't have much experience with that kind of thing.
But we must assume here that this is going to be way bigger of a deal than that.
But right, that's what I mean. Like, okay, so now because there's nothing I've ever seen on a flight line or, like people talk, I was in the military and I saw shit. I never saw anything.
And he's talking about an all-terrain vehicle under the ocean.
Yeah, like multiple environments, if you will, and able to hover and all of these kinds of things. That's
instantaneous travel.
That's some big shit, man.
Like quantum entangled engineering.
Yeah. Well,
folding space.
Well, they're saying new physics, right? So it would have to be something ridiculous like that, for sure.
Like in Dune, everyone listening.
Which the movies are filmed now, I think, and they're in post-production.
Oh, great.
The new movies, the new Dune. I think there's going to be 2 of them. The first movie is going to cover the life on the water planet, kind of like the book does, and the second movie is going to cover then the life on the planet Dune. Yeah. So, what was in the water planet? Arrakis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, good.
All right, this article comes from Futurism. I figured you did get a kick out of this. Most people would rather a robot steal their job than a person.
Because it's personal if it's a person,
right? There's a self-judgment piece there, right? Because I can't relate to a robot,
right?
It's just a fucking robot, man.
Right? It's just doing what it's supposed to.
But a human being coming along and taking my shit, guy. That means that I'm not as good as that person, right?
Just screw him.
Countless studies have all reached the same conclusion: robots are poised to steal jobs from a lot of humans. I've been bitching about that.
Since day one.
Since pretty much day one, yeah. Yeah, Mexicans aren't stealing your jobs. I am.
Yep, first podcast.
Dude, you know how many people I explain that to and they just look at me dumbfounded? Like, I was concerned I was really concerned that if I went out and started explaining to people how I've killed more jobs than anybody they've ever met, right?
Mm-hmm.
That there was going to be some, like, I was like, oh, because I see how they react to the people they perceive are stealing their jobs. I'm like, fuck, man, they're going to lynch my ass, right? I thought, I explain this to people now. I mean, pretty like, I don't know, cavalierly, I put it right out there. And I just get this weird blank stare from people. Like it doesn't register. Isn't that bizarre?
It is, yeah. I don't know. Huh.
But according to yet another automation-focused study, this one by researchers at Technical University of Munich, most people would prefer that scenario to the alternative, losing their job to another human. This is delving into some weird human psyche level shit here, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a robot.
Well, and maybe that's why they look at you blank when you tell them about automation. Right? Maybe they're like, well, that just doesn't feel as bad to me. Maybe that's what this study is showing.
What the hell, dude?
I don't know.
I had this argument with a person really close to me that drives truck, and I said, you've got to get another profession. Like 2 years ago, you needed to start working on this, man. Like, it's going away. But I don't know. People just don't know what to do. Okay, then what do I do? This is what I do. Now what? Yeah. Well, for the study published in the Journal of Nature Human Behavior on Monday, the Munich researchers asked 300 people. That's a very small sample set.
That's true.
If they'd rather lose their job to a robot or a human, and just 37% of the respondents chose the human. I don't know if that means anything.
It was all outside of an art college.
Right. What's the? Yeah. I need some fucking details here, folks. Through a follow-up survey focused on how respondents would feel about being replaced by a robot or another human, the researchers found that the latter would have a greater impact on someone's self-identity than the former. In other words, they'd feel worse about themselves if they lost their job to a human than if a robot stole it.
That's cool.
Outside the art school, those people.
Yeah.
Researchers Armin Granulo told New Scientist that one explanation for the results could be that humans don't expect to be able to compete with robots. That's what I'm saying. So losing their job to one wouldn't have as big an effect on their feelings of self-worth. Like, yes, because there's no way you can compete.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. There's no way you can compete.
Right, yeah. It's going away.
It's going away. Say bye-bye, man. It's over. Sayonara. Losing your job to another human, though, means you started on a level playing field and still lost, and that's going to hurt.
Yeah. Yep. It's okay if the robots take over the whole job because then nobody can do it. No one's better than anyone else.
Right.
But there's no reason why you should be better at this job than me.
And it's mindless. Like it doesn't have feelings about taking your job. It doesn't have any concern for it whatsoever. So there's no way to attach like a
motivation of any kind.
Of any kind,
ambition,
right? Yeah, it's not like it's trying to hurt you on purpose. Or the only people that you can sort of assign a motivation to may be profit margin.
It's much like the universe. When the universe busts you down, it's not like it's God. Nobody hates you. Don't take it personally. The universe doesn't even know you exist.
Yeah, it doesn't take. Don't. Yeah.
Let alone care about you. It doesn't even know you exist. What do you mean?
Yeah, physics. What I say that time, physics will foster the creation and development of life on a planet over billions of years, and then we'll just smack it with a fucking galactic rock just because.
Yep.
Just you were in the way. Bam.
Yep.
And that's it. It's
got to get done.
Things got to happen, man. We got a schedule to keep. Shit's got to get done. So if you're assigning an intelligence to that, that's right. That's what it is.
It's pretty brutal.
Hey, we published it in what was it? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The notification: your planet has to get out of the way because we're building the galactic highway.
Bogons, right? or I think also too of the old Star Trek original series episode called The Apple, where they had Vol, that was that cave lizard looking thing, and it set like the paradise. Vol is angry. We do not want to anger Vol. You know, like you don't know why. It's just
but you just shouldn't do it.
Yeah, but the universe will just strike you down, and you're like, oh, God's angry. We don't want to anger him anymore. He's already just hit this dude with lightning. Jesus Christ.
The claw has chosen you.
Yeah.
I had my wife cracking up about that the other day. I don't remember what we were talking about. She said something. I went, the claw has chosen you. She fucking lost it. It's the only reason that woman loves me, by the way, is I make her laugh. If I didn't have that, man, I'd be so screwed. This is kind of a fun story I thought you might get a kick out of. This comes from WBZ News Radio. So WBZ is Boston. Remember, I lived up there forever, 20 plus years, so my news feed is often populated by local news from Boston. Right?
News.
So a basketball player's drug test reveals that he is pregnant. Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Something's wrong here.
Something didn't work.
Red flag.
I'm going to guess that he didn't take the test.
I'm going to guess the same thing.
I'm going to go out on a limb here now.
Yeah.
Occam's razor, right?
Yep. He didn't take that test. Somebody that wasn't doing drugs took that test. Oh, and they happened to be pregnant.
And they also The International Basketball Federation suspended an American basketball player who has been playing in Europe after a drug test revealed that he was pregnant. DJ Cooper was trying to join the Bosnian national team as a naturalized player, but had to pass a drug test first. Cooper passed the drug test, but was told there was an anomaly with his urine sample. Did you love that?
Yeah.
Anomaly.
You're a piece of shit lying fool. I mean, there's an anomaly with your urine.
You tried to scam the system. The lab test revealed the presence of a human chorionic gonadotropin. That's a lot of fancy stuff for saying, which is a hormone made by the placenta during pregnancy.
It should be a great story for his wife to tell how they all found out she was pregnant.
It would be, wouldn't it? So he was going to get this job with his basketball team. Oopsie. Cooper reportedly tried to beat the test by using his girlfriend's urine, and it turns out that she was pregnant. It is unclear why Cooper was trying to cheat the drug test. It is?
Drugs.
It's unclear?
Yeah, he took drugs.
He was handed a 2-year suspension for his actions.
You can take a couple of years off and think about this a little bit.
It's unclear because you're innocent until proven guilty, right? But
it's just an anomaly.
Oh, God. I don't know. I fake shit all the time that I don't need to. Don't you? Right? I mean, let's just see what happens here, honey.
Yeah, just...
Maybe he was just using that as an excuse to get some urine sample from her to see if she was pregnant because he was worried about her cheating on him or something.
He should have went with raccoon pee. I don't know.
How do you get pee from a raccoon?
It's going to be difficult, right? Like if you're just going to use anyone else's, you
I
might
envision
as well
really thick leather gloves being part of the process,
and it being biting down the whole time it's peeing and scared to death. Yeah, just pissing and biting.
Get the bottle. Get the bottle.
Here he goes. Here he goes. Gotta pass this test, little fella. You go on now.
What do you do for a living? I harvest me some raccoon pee.
Oh, I know. And then the raccoon goes home to his raccoons and he says, I had this alien experience.
Yeah, these weird aliens did horrible experiments on me.
Yeah, it took me into their ship. And
it's just aliens trying to pass drug tests, man.
Probably.
Somehow it's anal related, but I'm not sure.
Well,
they have different drug tests.
Better tests.
Much more accurate this way, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've heard that before. Amazon delivery robots are officially on the streets of California. This comes from ZDNet. Remember what I was saying about truck drivers?
Yeah, but these are like, how big are these?
I don't know. They look like a cooler with 6 wheels is what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to get in that?
What I think happens here, what would make sense to me, because there's no way that's going to deliver a package of any great distance.
That's a big track.
Is that this somehow comes out of the Amazon truck. I haven't read the article yet.
Self-deploys.
I'm envisioning this as like these little swarm bots that go out and do things.
Kind of also looks like the robots on Star Wars where they were running around on the floor.
Yeah, like the squeaky ones that Chewbacca growled at and it ran away. Yeah.
I thought those were supposed to be like cleaning the floor or something, but it turns out there's some kind of message robots.
Well, because the Death Star didn't have internet.
Yeah. Wi-Fi.
Or Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, nothing, man. It was unfinished.
Well,
not the first one.
But remember they had these hologram communication devices. So I kind of looked at those as like the Roomba of Star Wars. Is sort of what I viewed them too. Like they just went around clean shit, Amazon has officially rolled out its last mile delivery robots in a Southern California test bed called Scout. The delivery robot is designed to autonomously ferry parcels from urban distribution points to Amazon Prime customers, removing the need for vans and cars in last mile delivery. Yeah, so not the truck, but same kind of idea. They're deployed from like cells.
How do they keep from getting ran over?
Well, I think they're semi-autonomous, so I think they can not run into people and these kinds of things. I've seen this too, man, where they're building security robots that walk around in malls and stuff. And basically what they are is they're just sensors. Like has a camera and these kinds of things in it. And it's probably got like an emergency call button a person can hit. And then the robot's location would be fed to actual people who could respond. But I've seen videos of them being dumped into fountains and all kinds of heinous shit happening to them. Like people just don't like them.
Exterminate.
Right. So they're like out on a campus, university campus, bebopping around, and drunk college kids are like, fuck this thing, man. Sploosh in the fountain it goes, And it's been wrecked. Like there was somebody else. Was it you was telling me about these people that the robot hitchhiker And they put it out, and it was like this thing, it was supposed to be like they were supposed to see if this semi-autonomous device could actually hitchhike across the country, and it didn't make it past like the second state before it was ripped apart and parts of it were taken out and weird stuff like that. So I think they just like left it beside the road and was like, hitchhiking to whatever, and to see if it would get there, and it was recording stuff, but someone decided to disassemble it. Amazon has previously tested its delivery robots in Washington State, but this marks the first California deployment. The robots deployed in the Irvine area will drive during daytime hours. Yeah, there you go. It's going to be out when the people are about. Though designed to operate autonomously, the test robots will be accompanied by humans to ensure nothing goes wrong. So this is the other bitch about a lot of this stuff, right? And this is the true of automation even from what I do. You still have to have humans and shit that watch this stuff and take care of it.
Yeah, just less.
Just less, correct.
A robot overseer, as it were.
As it were, yeah. They're called so-called scout ambassadors. Will also be gauging public reaction to the robots, which is a big X factor in plans to
deploy my God, kill it!
Autonomous mobile robots on city streets. Okay, so right now we have this issue where people leave parcels on their when UPS or whoever leaves parcels or packages on your driveway,
people steal
right?
them.
People steal them.
Right.
Well, now they're like got 6 wheels and rolling down the road, man. They're not even on. You just pull up
right
beside it, boom, toss it in the van, and off you go.
In the trunk, yeah.
So they're not very big,
No.
But now you got these poor people that got to walk around where these things are driving, keep an eye on them. So why not just have the person deliver the package?
You need like a defense mechanism on the robot.
Obviously, the goal here is to get it to the point where people aren't watching these things. That would be the only smart reason.
I think we should equip them with weapons for self-defense.
Like have your own little protection robot that follows you around?
Yeah, like a charged up electric field, maybe a little missile or gun or something.
Well, then people would have bigger and bigger defense robots, right?
I don't know,
because if I have a defense robot and you don't, then I win.
No, I'm just saying for the Amazon, they can protect their stuff.
Oh, you mean not like personal protection robots for humans?
No,
you're talking about
for them, so people don't just scoop it up or something.
Like tasers or something.
Yeah.
Or make them so that if you touch them, they shock the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
That might work. I think it's illegal, but I think it would definitely might work. So, Amazon is actually late to the party with its foray into ground robots for delivery. Other companies such as Starship Technologies are making active deliveries in the UK and on the campus of George Mason University with more than 50,000 reported parcel drop-offs. Ooh.
I feel like Starship Technology or company or whatever is a misnomer.
Yeah, it's not a starship, is it?
I don't know. I really don't believe they're looking.
Sidewalk ship technologies or whatever.
Of course, if these other guys release their technology they're talking about, then we may have a viable company.
Well, if you can basically render, like they were saying, that you can travel instantaneously, well, this shit gets obsoleted instantly, right? Because what would be the point?
Right.
I'd want to order something and then ding dong and open the door and there it is, Wow, that's cool, thanks.
Right on your table here.
Imagine that. I mean, as soon as they box the pizza, bam, it's there. Yeah, like right out of the oven. Talk
Better
about
than
spoiled.
prayer. Huh?
Why you gotta do that now?
I don't know.
I'm just throwing it out
saying.
there. Just feeling it, man. You're just feeling it.
No, it's good.
It's all good. A company called Refraction AI created a low-cost, lightweight delivery robot named REV1 or Rev1. Get it? Rev. Anyway, which can operate in both the bike lane and on the shoulder of roads. The company, which recently came out of stealth, what is with all this hidden shit, right? Is the brainchild of two University of Michigan professors, Matthew Johnson Robertson and Ram Devin. Okay, we're just going to call him Ram. Indeed, one of the big foreseeable problems with delivery robots like Amazon's six-wheeled Scout is that it must share sidewalk space with pedestrians, real estate that is at a premium in many metropolises. City legislatures may be keen to restrict sidewalk access if there's loud opposition. They're not going to work and play well together, Eric.
No, probably not. I mean,
I think drone delivery is probably a much better, because then you're working in the third dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's way less limited than the two we work in today.
You only have to worry about your drone crashing into things.
This is true, but you have to worry about your robot crashing into things. The difference is the liability because it's on the ground and not going near as fast as it's tumbling out of the sky at terminal velocity with a dumbbell set on the end of it, not being delivered to the appropriate location anymore.
Yep. The robot on the ground just tips over and dies.
Yeah, it might run over your toe. You might have to see a podiatrist. The other one, you've got to start exercising the will.
Yeah.
Indeed, one of the big foreseeable problems with delivery robots, did I read that already? Yeah, loud opposition. Still, no one in the industry doubts that the Bezos juggernaut will be a major developer of unmanned ground robots in the near future. By taking cars off roads, developers of last-mile delivery robot tout environmental and standard of living benefits to their technology. And as companies like Uber and Bird have proved, sometimes cities just don't have the nimbleness or muscle to stop a wave of new technology once momentum has set in. Yeah.
All right. Cities, I guess, better get prepared.
Yeah, no shit. Well, do you remember the Segway? I mean, it's still a thing. Have you ever ridden one of those, by the way?
No.
They're kind of trippy, man.
Are
They're
they?
very easy to get used to. I was really shocked with how easy they are to get used to. I was also shocked at how easily it could take a friend of mine who was 4'10" and launch her head over heels over the handlebars flat onto her back in front of it. I was like, damn, man.
Yeah, I don't think so. I've always been afraid that'd be me.
Yeah, they're one of them weird things, man, that it's intuitive if you let it be. Mm-hmm. It's really bizarre. When you kind of get used to riding them, you don't really realize you're riding them. The less you think about riding it, the better it works. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You have to try it. I mean, it's trippy. They're putting them on golf courses and stuff now. That's how people, instead of golf carts, they ride around on Segways.
Wow.
They're way more. I don't know. Why are we talking about this? Why am I going down this rabbit hole in this?
Why are we?
I don't know. We're talking about delivery robots and shit, right? Oh,
Yeah.
I was saying this because Segways, they said, Segways was going to be this huge thing and it was going to be very popular in all these cities. And there was all this weird hysteria that went on for years about the Segway before it actually came out. And that's actually because I lived in New Hampshire. Segway is a Dean Kamen invention. Segway, the company's in Manchester, New Hampshire. Okay. And so it was this really big deal. He was this weird mad scientist that lived in town and people were speculating that he was going to have this technology that was going to change the world and all these kind of things. So people were really trying to figure out what it was. And the first time I was ever exposed to the concept of far viewing, do you know what that is?
I do.
Okay, was people trying to figure out what Dean Kamen Segway actually was.
Clairvoyance.
And their result was that it was some sort of almost like a train that would move around. These far viewers came up with this. It's a train. It's this thing. It's some sort of motivating device. It looks like a train. It rolls on the ground and all this. And what actually came out was a Segway, which was still something that moves, but didn't look anything like what they had come up with. But but anyway, they when that first started coming out, there was big conjecture that was going to revolutionize the way people commute in cities and all this kind of stuff. And the postal workers in Manchester use them. But when I go to New York City, I don't see people cruising up and down the streets on Segways all the time. Now, I haven't been there in a while, but the last time I was there, the Segways were out and nobody was using them. Huh. Actually, I can say this, pretty much every city, because I travel a lot. I go to pretty major cities.
Yeah.
I've never seen them. So this is kind of that, that's kind of the same thing when they talk about these delivery robots and stuff competing for space. It turns out that doesn't work out. Even things that are piloted by humans, they don't want them on the sidewalk. That's why you have a bike lane, right?
Yeah.
You have a separate lane for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think this is going to be the big, going to take over everything thing that people think. I think drones make a lot more sense. Said, wrong way to invest your money there, Bezos, but it's your money, so have a ball with it, Bubba. So this was kind of a neat article. SpaceX caught a rocket nose cone with a giant net. So now, SpaceX has, this was on Futurism, by the way. So, SpaceX has those rockets that land themselves.
Yep.
And they land on land and they land on barges out in the ocean, right?
Right.
So now they've built this giant like catcher's mitt. And the nose cone comes down with a parachute, and they line this boat up underneath of it, and bonk, and they just sort of catch it.
Makes sense.
On Tuesday, a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launched from Cape Canaveral. Approximately 30 minutes later, it successfully delivered its payload, Israel's Amos 17 communication satellite, into orbit. Mission accomplished, right? Not quite. SpaceX still needed to recover the rocket's fairing, the nose cone that protected the payload, and CEO Elon Musk just shared a stunning video of this company doing exactly that. In the clip, a boat SpaceX dubbed Miss Tree, formerly Mr. Steven, uses a giant net to... Why?
I don't know.
Why? I don't... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why not just say it's called Miss Tree and move on? Like, what is the relevance of knowing it used to be Mr. Steven?
I don't know.
You know what it is?
No.
It's letters on the page, baby. Got to get that letter count up, right? That word count up.
Yeah, right. That's probably what it is.
Uses a giant net to prevent the fairing from splashing into the Atlantic Ocean, which could have rendered the $6 million nose cone unusable, or at the very least forced SpaceX to spend additional money refurbishing it. With a bit of help from the fairing's parachute, small steering thrusters, however, Ms. Tree was able to prevent the nose cone from meeting a watery fate. So that's pretty wild, but I'll bet it's automated.
Yeah, maybe.
This is the second time Ms. Tree has caught a fairing. It snagged the first one in June, but that's not to say there haven't been many unsuccessful attempts. Have you watched, did I make you watch the video of how not to land a rocket on YouTube?
I don't think so.
God, I got to show you this, man. It's one of the great things about SpaceX. It's somebody at SpaceX, if not under the supervision or direction of Elon Musk himself, put together like this classical music montage of all the rockets that didn't land.
Oh.
Right? And then crashing and all this. It is freaking hilarious. But it's hilarious anyway, because you and I both like fail videos and shit. People are, but it's hilarious because you think every time that happens, I mean, fucking millions of dollars is that, man?
A lot of money, man.
And it's just boom, 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 man. How many failures they had to go through. And, okay, now correct this. The hydraulic system sprung a leak on this one. Got to fix that. Like, not enough this. Like, they were working through all the dynamics until finally, now they're landing these rockets, right? It's really fascinating stuff. In fact, it's taken SpaceX 2 years worth of boat redesigns, trying various arm and net combinations before landing on the current configuration. But with 2 consecutive successful recoveries, it seems this version of Miss Tree is a winner. Huh. This is really cool shit, though. And I think, the thing that turns me on the most about this SpaceX stuff is how they're cutting the cost of delivering things to space so dramatically by investing in these recoverable types of devices to use them repeatably.
Yeah.
Which was what the idea of the space shuttle was supposed to be too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But they're just
reusable payload device.
Yeah, but they're just using it. They're just using like standard rocket type. I mean, I don't know that there's anything standard about these really, but I mean, it's a rocket. It's a big tube on top of a bunch of engines.
Yeah, they didn't reinvent a whole class of vessel to do it. They just found ways of doing it with mostly the older material.
And it's like an interesting brute force method of doing it too, versus like the space shuttle, which was a gliding vehicle. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
this is just fuck it. We'll land on the engine. Bam.
Catch it. Here it comes.
Here it comes. Or this. Yeah. This where they catch these nose cones. You got this boat out there going, I got it. Ploosh. Shit, I don't got it. Do you want to talk about this one? This is a big one. This is from Newsweek, dude.
Oh yeah. No,
have you heard about this?
Yeah.
Would this at all surprise you?
No.
See, this is the thing. Newsweek. Did Ohio lawmakers accidentally pass a law that decriminalizes marijuana? Law enforcement thinks so.
Yeah. I heard this. Essentially, what I remember is that the problem was that now that they've legalized hemp and those kind of products and medical use, they have no way of determining if when they pick up someone what the content of THC is in the product, right? So there's no way for them to do that. So they can't and then since like hemp is totally legal, they can't prosecute you because there's no way they can tell how much is in there. So they gotta let you go, or they got to source out to a lab out of state, which just costs crazy amount of money, right? So
No
the
way.
prosecuting attorney was like, look, until they fix this, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not prosecuting anybody.
No
Like,
fucking way.
That's what I read. See what this says.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine signed Senate Bill 57 into law last week, and now it appears marijuana may have become legal in the Buckeye State. The law has actually created confusion for law enforcement around the state, and the capital city of Columbus has stated it will not prosecute misdemeanor marijuana cases, according to WBNS 10 TV News in Columbus. SB 57 allows Ohio farmers to grow hemp as a new revenue source, like Kentucky does.
Mm-hmm.
The law says hemp is excluded from the legal definition of marijuana depending on the amount of THC, the chemical in marijuana that gets someone high. If a given sample has a THC level of 0.3% or lower, it is considered hemp and it is legal. But if the sample shows a THC level greater than 0.3, it is marijuana, which is illegal. Jason Pappas, the vice president of the Ohio Fraternal Order of Police, said the average person will not know how to distinguish levels of THC, which puts law enforcement officials in a quandary. Fuck, dude. A state accidentally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, this is just how
that's
absurd
more
it is.
embarrassing with how absurd it is that it's illegal to begin with, okay?
It's absurd that they're drawing such delineation between...
Like, this
0.3.
is where we're at.
Yeah, like you
why even have this at this point?
Well, obviously they have a hard time having it because they accidentally don't have it.
Quote, now we have to be able to distinguish the difference between hemp and marijuana, Papa said. That is not possible for a human being to do. That has to be done through crime analysis. The dilemma, crime labs in Ohio, including the BCI State Crime Lab and Columbus Police Lab, don't measure the quantity of THC, only the presence of it.
Uh-huh.
So they passed laws that antiquated their equipment before they had their appropriate equipment. So now they got to go and spend shit tons of money to get this new equipment instead of just being like, just don't do this.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, my head.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how maybe that's how it just becomes legal in Ohio? They're just like, oh, like shit.
Just
damn
fuck it.
Never mind.
Yeah, we don't have the right equipment, so we can't prosecute it right now. So, quote, until these testing requirements are fixed and until we get some additional training and resources available to us, it's going to be very difficult to go after any marijuana cases in Ohio, Papa said. He's right. Okay, is it marijuana or is it hemp, Your Honor? Well, which is it?
Right.
Well, you have to test the THC levels. Well, we can't do that. It's hemp.
Yeah, I know. I love how it's impossible for humans to do that. Like, dude, if you smoked it, you would know.
Here, roll it up and try it. You tell me if it's marijuana or hemp, Your Honor.
They got themselves in such a quandary that they can't do that. I mean, it's funny because...
It's such a stupid... How much money are we spending now to split this hair this far? Like, what is the point?
Well, I guess they're just giving up on it.
Obviously, they're not.
Yeah, because how long will it? They can't. I bet they can rewrite the law before they get the equipment.
But what are you going to rewrite it to?
Something that's different. I don't know.
That's their problem, right? Because the naked eye is impossible. They're saying for a human being to differentiate the two.
And they
the
don't
only
have
way
no
to do
labs
is through
in
chemical
the
analysis.
area that can. Yeah. And no labs in our area can distinguish that, which is ironic. You figured it would not be that difficult, but apparently it is.
Pappas was asked by the TV station of the end result of the new law passed. Quote, you legalized marijuana in Ohio for a time being, Pappas said. Fucking Ohio accidentally legalizes.
Oh. It says every Ohioan in the legal system.
Oop. Yeah, that's what we say to everyone. Oop. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost distributed a letter to prosecutors throughout the state saying that the state crime lab is working to validate ways to meet the new requirement, and it could take a while. Yep.
Can you lab guys fix this for us?
Dude, this isn't just about buying a new piece of equipment. No. Because this has to be some sort of standard type thing that can be referenced and used in evidentiary cases and all. I mean, this is not an easy. This isn't just like, hey, order the Podatron 9000 and just get 12 of them and we're good. You know, it's not like that. The Podatron
9000. Yeah, we need about 12 of those.
So here, BCI is in early stages of validating methods to meet this new legal requirement. You said, adding it could take several months. The BCI has recommended to prosecutors suspend identification of marijuana testing and also urged them against indicting cannabis-related items. So, hey, y'all, it's all legal right now.
Right, smoke up while you got them.
Give us some time. We'll get it fucked up again. You hang on.
Yep.
Luis Turbin is the executive director of the Ohio Prosecuting Attorneys Association, and he echoed Pappas in the fact he believes marijuana is indeed now legal in Ohio.
Looks that way, guys. Congratulations.
Well, yeah, but go have fun. Go buy it.
Yeah, congratulations with your new purchase. You guys just bought legalization for the. Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, that's kind of how that convolution all works, man. And that desire to be so okay, we're gonna be so exclusionary that we're gonna divide this line here now for the sake of I don't fucking know what.
Oop.
They've dicked around in their own convolution and accidentally backdoor legalized it anyway. What a waste of fucking time, man.
Government.
Saving us from ourselves as usual, dude.
As good as they can, at least. They tried. God. They really tried. They tried hard.
What is the point? Makes my head hurt, man.
In Canada, they accidentally legalized cannibalism.
Say what?
Yeah, because of a misspelling when they were legalizing cannabis. On the documents, it became cannibalism, and nobody caught it until they ratified it.
So it was like a search and replace type error of some sort?
Yeah.
Like spell check went in and someone spelled it wrong, but kept fixing it to call it cannibalism, and they never caught it.
Right.
That's a very specific difference between cannabis and cannibalism, bud.
It happens. This shit happens when it's really this complicated, so they had to fix that shit.
How much money did that take?
Who knows?
Okay, so at least it isn't
Who could have predicted that?
At least they don't actually print law books and shit like that anymore, right? It's all online now.
Just updates, yeah. I don't. So they made a mistake. I don't know. What are you gonna do, man?
Well, according to the articles we've read tonight, that when the aliens come to Ohio, they can smoke a joint and not go to jail.
So this is the perfect time to be unloading some ancient alien technology on the world. Just, once we've accidentally made lead weagle.
Say that 10 times fast,
lead
right?
weagle.
Yeah. Made that lead weagle.
Yeah. And now there's aliens.
What the fuck? I'm telling you, CERN did something.
Yeah.
They did.
2012.
They knocked us into an alternate, sort of weird alternate reality kind of thing, man.
Yeah, Cassie was talking with me about that at work.
Really?
Yep.
There's some. It's strange, right? I mean, it's not just me. It's like,
no, it's
what is
weird.
going on?
I used to be able to ignore politics and never hear anything about it. Now I ignore it, but I hear stuff about it all the time.
Yeah, well, people are strange.
Yeah, and the world is strange. So I don't know. I'd be interested to find out that September 20th thing and the whole alien technology thing. And
well, it looks like it's turning into some version of Woodstock now, right?
Yeah, maybe it is. What if they disseminate it down there?
Oh, what if that's where they, instead of having everybody raid Area 51, they're just bring it out and go, here you go, bitches.
We decided, you're right.
And everyone's going to be like, ooh,
we knew it.
And
we knew it.
And I'm going to be like, if that's the shit they're showing you, what are they not showing you? Inside the gates,
you know what? What if that is everything? What if it is?
It's very, dude.
It's so improbable that it's going to happen in the first place.
Yeah.
If they rule out anything like that, I'm going to have to believe that they're ruling it all out.
This is so much like discussing what you're going to do when you win the lottery,
or
right?
Or when Christmas comes and you've asked Santa for certain things that are impossible for your family to get, but you believe in them and you know it's going to happen, and it's happening. Here we go.
I'll tell you what, though. Tell me it. I'll tell you. If this shit comes out, we're going to be the first ones fucking talking about it.
Yeah, maybe. We should find a way to be down there.
Oh,
Phil Collins is going to be there, right? Or is it Gary Spacey or David Spacey or what's that dude's name?
Phil Collins is a singer formerly of Genesis. Recorded a famous song for Miami Vice called "In the Air Tonight." Well,
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey is a weird accused of pedophilia type person that.
One of those guys are supposed
making
to be
weird
there.
appearances all the time.
Isn't
now.
it Spacey?
Kevin Spacey. I don't know. You had mentioned that to me that Kevin Spacey was
I
going
can't
there.
Remember. I don't know why I thought about Phil Collins being there.
Maybe
he will be.
Maybe. I don't know.
There's a lot of famous people that said they were going to be.
Yeah, there's bands and stuff I think that are making commitments to go. Although I don't know if this shit is for real, like all of these famous people and stuff that keep saying they're going to do this, or if they're just sort of
okay. So what if it is, Matt? Like
taking the piss, as the English would call it, sort of making a joke out of it.
Well, one of the things that I've heard from other people and have discussed with Lisa was how Hollywood has all of these insider people who are privy to knowledge and information that most people is hidden from most people, and they kind of act it out in a real kind of metaphoric way.
It's like a way of preparing society for the inevitable. I've heard this kind of shit too.
Something like that.
It's sort of a weird version of programming where they're just sort of like all these Alien and Marvel movies and everything that keeps coming out is sort of a way to precondition the psyche.
Something like that, yeah. And that these guys actually know about it and stuff. And, I mean, what if there was a connection to famous people and they were going to show up because they knew about it already? In other words, they were planning on going out there because they're already privy to the idea that this company is going to be coming out with this information through the government's letting it loose, and they're going to capitalize on the event and be down there, like.
Well, the scary part, man, is how much conspiracy theory shit, although it is a small proportion of it, turns out to actually be true.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like Gulf of Tonkin type stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's legitimate shit that's happened that's been very like, what the fuck? And then you get, oh, no, that actually happened. Holy crap. But it doesn't mean that every conspiracy theory is true by any stretch of the imagination. But this was one, if I wanted anything to ever really be true,
it would be this one.
It would be this one.
Yeah.
I want there to be space alien technology.
Screw Bigfoot. We want the space alien technology.
Yep. Because I think that there's some merit to the Roddenberry
zoo hypothesis. Yeah.
Yeah. Or there's merit to Roddenberry's created society and how that there's replicators. So nobody gives a fuck what you do anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You give a fuck what you do because nobody needs anything anymore, kind of thing.
Right.
And everybody has tremendous control through advanced medicine and stuff over their own biology and these kind of health and
value
all this.
Is only intrinsic where it is.
Yeah. So like I can see if I look to a future where if technology is to manifest in the most beneficial way to humanity, that's the way I see it. I think he was right about that. I think that's the way it kind of has to go. I think it's a logical sort of destination for it. Does that make sense?
That would be the only real justification for this company / government releasing this technology. In other words, there's no way for them to use whatever they found out about it without revealing that they have it, right? Like they can't use it, can they? Unless they show it off to people. So if they've got it and they're ready to use it, then the next thing that they would possibly do with that technology is to go ahead and turn it over to the public. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I do, but it's the way that they're air quotes turning it over to the public. We're back to that article again now, but yeah, it sort of sticks with me,
But still, that would be the big justification, is that it would make this utopian Roddenberry-esque like society. And so a lot of the questions about how it came to be or what the implications might be overlooked just in the glory of having literally a paradigm shift in how you run your life. Everybody just walks home with an
while
energy
we're all
device.
enjoying the air quotes benefits. We're not going to be paying attention to the fact that this is all controlled by one entity.
Possibly so.
And there's going to be, I guarantee you, there's going to be like fucking licensing because it's a corporation.
And
they're not there to just give it
complain if
away.
everybody gets? But what if they do? What if they maintain control of it, but they give it away?
Then form a non-profit and do it that way. That would make more sense.
But what if everybody was dependent upon it and they used it as a means of of people having dependence upon their product. Like everybody gets one, but everyone's also absolutely dependent upon that product. So you, in a way,
we have that. It's called social media.
Well,
right?
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I mean. It's not turned out to be good for everyone, right?
Not necessarily completely altruistic, right? It can tend to be a little.
So that's what I'm saying, man. What if this is something like a paradigm shift and shit, and that they're doing it under that justification,
right?
And that you just become ensnared in the one corporation that gives you the one thing that you would need to survive
the most.
Yeah, you don't need a job, you don't need money, you need the thing that this corporation has, and if yours breaks down, you're going to need
the corporation.
Yeah.
Or do you? Or does the technology just replicate itself and eventually render the corporation obsolete?
Probably not. It might, like you'd have to know about it. And they've had how many years if this came out in the 50s? They've had 60-some years to design something that allows them to feel comfortable letting it loose. They've got some control.
And we're speculating about kind of how all this fits together, but
I mean, the idea of how to build a nuclear reactor is common knowledge in the sense that anybody can find out how to do it, right? But nevertheless, the government still has control of that. You would, anybody that would
the source elements are so hard to get anyway.
Well, and anybody that would build one would be subject to the government coming in and looking at what they're doing and perhaps taking it away. So, I mean, this could be the same thing. If you started replicating these things and trying to do something with them that this company didn't want you to do with them, they would be able to step in and tell you no, whatever that would be.
Right.
And they've had to have thought of this philosophically out. Like, even if you could replicate itself, right, there must be something that you would be able to replicate with it that might make the shift of balance of power come out of their favor that they wouldn't allow, if that's at all possible.
Right.
But to be honest, with such a thing, you wouldn't probably look that deeply. If you could take it home right now and have it manufacture like a replicator, any device that you would want or buy that you don't have to work for, how deeply would you look in to that corporation that gave it to you?
Exactly. I agree with you 100%, man. I think you're absolutely right. That's where it becomes like a and tell me what we see in society at large. It doesn't say that that's exactly what would happen.
Well,
already.
Yeah, because Marx said that religion.
We're talking Karl Marx now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said that religion was what made society placated, right? That it was the drug of the masses.
Opiate of the masses, I think is what he said, right? Yeah.
Right. And he said this because religion allowed you to forgive your sins and to believe that in the next life you would be vindicated and things like that. So it made you irresponsible
in the current
the current time, right? And so therefore it was a drug in that sense. And it kept you doing like really shitty things for society, like being caught in working in factories and stuff, and not being productive unto yourself, because you figured there in the afterlife you would get rewards if you suffered in this life, right?
Right.
So it allowed you it deadened your spirit enough for you to sell your soul to a factory.
Yeah.
Right now.
And
later,
look, he's not. Karl Marx is not the only person, though.
No, but he's famous
I'm
for saying that.
Yeah, but I'm saying that does not define Marxism writ large. That's something that he said. But there's a lot of people that have said very, very similar things that weren't necessarily associated with Marx.
Well, and
Marxism.
I have said that technology is the opiate of the masses. I have speculated
that has been supplanted now.
Yeah.
By technology.
Yeah, and specifically entertainment technology like Xboxes and computers and social media that allows people to, it's almost like it deadens them. They don't go out and really protest. They sit behind and do keyboard warrior protests.
That's right. That's right.
And so they're really not out there changing anything. And even reporters no longer really go out and investigate. They investigate via the internet, right?
It's terrifying how derivative a lot of news is today. That you have like a certain core of people that will release an article, but because it was them that did it, how many subsequent reporters then re-report that same thing, and then because they did it, subsequent people go, well, I trust this person, and that's how, like, I think it was Israel has a cure for an inoculation against cancer, like this general, and it turns out that wasn't true, but so many people reported that article.
So you can see how it deadens the soul, and it makes you sectarian, right? Like
very sectarian.
Yeah,
yes.
you know people that you've never met in a game or on the internet,
but now we're on the same team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your neighbor you're afraid of and you live in fear of, the guy that lives right next. Remember in the 50s, there was block parties and barbecues and your neighbors would hang out.
That stuff happens still and is starting to happen more. But to your point, because I think if you want to go down that road, man, I agree with you 100%. But this was happening before there was ever video games.
Yeah, but when's
television
the last time...
started doing that?
Well, sure,
people,
But when's the last time you seen any block parties around here or people having neighborhood cookouts?
Around here, not very many, but when I lived in New England and New Hampshire and stuff, I saw that kind of stuff.
But I think that's a special case up there because of the blue blood.
Well, maybe it could be more of a cultural thing. Yeah, absolutely. But what I do see around here is a lot of festivals, a lot of those type of events. And we have big ones where we're at often. And so I think that there is a recommuning of people, but the way we traditionally communed doesn't necessarily fit anymore.
What if you stack the deck again and you bring it from religion being the opium of the masses to technology, to this super technology that they're talking about releasing, where it's basically the ultimate? I mean, like, I think it would make people even more sectarian and stuff as they kind of just dwelled in their own creations and their own place. A lot of people, at least that I know, would be like, yeah, I would go out into the middle of nowhere where nobody was around me and I'd live my life. Like, there doesn't seem like there'd be a lot of reason for people to be in a city, because traditionally cities historically were created when there was a reason for people to be pushed together in one area and they had to get along and start
for safety, security, advancement, all that kind of thing.
But with these machines that we're talking about, if there were replicators,
may not be necessary anymore.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it seems like it's the ultimate in that progression of making people very docile. And then, but to be fair, there wouldn't be much to change, right? After you have that, there's not much that you need to change. Like, a lot of the strife in humanity that you might protest against would fade away if this sort of technology was available.
And see, I think where it falls short, and like I said, I'm a big fan of the sort of the Roddenberry's sort of philosophy on humanity and civilization post technological revolutions of those kinds. Okay. I'm a big fan of that, but I think that he falls short because it definitely removes a component of that's just human beings. And we know that just in and of themselves, that for no reason, sometimes human beings can be horrible to each other and do really, really horrible things to each other.
Certainly technology has increased more than man's capacity to adapt to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine this kind of fucking junk?
It'd be huge. But okay, so let's say that you came out with a technology that removed every obstacle: access to energy, access to fresh, breathable air, access to drinkable water. Okay, access to digestible, nutrient-rich food, and it could do so for an unlimited population for all intents and purposes.
Let's call this device the Ancient of Days.
Okay, let's call it the Ancient of Days. Okay, let's say it is that. That's an alien technology that they were using then. It got hidden away. We've rediscovered it. Bang, zoom. Yeah. Bob's your uncle. Here it comes. Ooh. Okay, you release this onto the world. Now there's no resource to fight over anymore.
Right.
So then the only way that we're divided is on like philosophical, religious, those type of divisions.
Yes.
But there's no necessity now for that tribe for you to survive necessarily anymore. You understand what I'm saying?
And those philosophical concepts that you're talking about being left, at the same time that those are the only thing left, they're going to take a blow because the very technology...
Well, they won't be needed like they were before.
The very technology that brings them into question is also the very technology, by its implication being ancient alien artifacts, puts that philosophy into question, right? Like, all of the normal philosophy is human-centric.
Yes.
So all the philosophy is going to take a blow once, because if you strip all that other stuff away and you just have that as a division, at the same time, that takes a blow because you also have to now incorporate what this actually means.
Right. Is this even necessary
in
anymore?
light of there being aliens out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like even that would take a blow. I mean, it would be such a game changer that there would be, a lot of the things that we speculate on wouldn't need to be speculated
on anymore. No, but we will be doing a bunch of shows on what was right and what wasn't right and that kind of stuff.
Speculating on other things, probably.
Well, and to that point, there's a lot of people that have made a lot of money and made a lot of claims that could also be disproven by let's say something was released and everyone goes, yeah, but it's really this. This is what everyone's been talking about.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense, whatever it is, right? But it has nothing to do with bud aliens or, it has nothing to do with abductions and animal mutilations or any of this kind of stuff.
And it could validate some of these other hypotheses that's going on, too. I mean, I think that if any of this would happen, I would almost have to throw into question what our idea is of normal physics, right? Without validating anybody's personal theory, one of the main hits that theorists suffer when they're theorizing outside of mainstream accepted theories is that they're outside of mainstream, right? And mainstream being defined by what we consider to be the laws of physics. Like their theory doesn't jive with what we consider to be the law of physics, right?
General consensus accepted model type shit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if this stuff exists,
and it's outside that.
Yeah, that indicates that we don't know as much as we thought, and it really will level the playing field for a lot of these other theories, right? Because now these will be well validated, at least in that the one that we thought was accurate isn't.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they're right, but it definitely does. It means that they
we're
could,
not right.
Now they
whoever.
could be
Yeah.
right, and now that blows the door wide open to everything again.
Yeah. Yeah,
or does it slam the door shut on a bunch of conjecture and point everything into a new direction that makes more sense?
Well, I'm guessing it's probably not going to do that if they're dropping hints like it's a whole new kind of physics, if it's a whole game changer, if they're releasing it because they have done all they can do in 60-some years and can't figure out and they need to let other people try to figure it out. It must be so different that it's a new kind of physics. They must not know what the hell they have, and they need somebody to take a look at it to think outside of their box that they've made. So I'm guessing
But this gives some validity then to the claims of Bob Lazar.
Yeah, absolutely it
That's
does.
fucking because we've been panning the shit out of Bob Lazar.
We have, and I still stand by all of that.
As noted, I agree.
Until this happens, until these guys roll this shit out, and it's exactly what they said it was in that article.
I'm still going on the skeptical side of the fence, and I don't believe.
But if they do roll out a device that can travel instantaneously, and if they do roll out devices,
and it's third party validated, and it's repeatable,
and they release it, and they find that out, then I would absolutely
change my tune.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll incorporate that new paradigm immediately and
be happier for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm not anti-alien. I'm not
anti-alien. I'm going to go home and watch
technology.
Star Wars.
Right. But I'm also pro math.
Well, yeah, I'm pro logic.
Yeah.
Right? Logic doesn't dictate that this is going to happen.
Right.
It'd be awesome to fool logic, but it rarely happens.
Well, magic tricks and shit like that for sure
turn out to be legerdemain.
Dude, I've seen my fair share of snake oil shit.
Right? Yeah, magic tricks turn
stuff.
into legerdemain and cease to be magic.
And once everybody understands how the trick's done, it's not magic anymore. Still amazing how many people will fall for it.
Yeah, and this shit, the way
again.
they talk about it, it might as well be magic, like Asimov says.
Yeah, I mean, this has an air of validity given that it's coming from the Huffington Post, right? But, I mean, and then the Huffington Post, by the way, is also known for being, full disclosure, known for being kind of incredibly biased politically. Okay.
Yeah, but where do you file this on?
Where's the politics
scale?
in this?
I don't know.
There's no politics.
There probably
in this,
will be, but I don't know where it's at now.
This is the author is Leslie Keene, and it just says contributor, which I don't know if that means it's somebody that actually works for the Huffington Post or that submits articles. And like you were talking about, that there's college kids that take news and just to make content.
My first thought, just some other government agency contact.
This was now here. Let me give you some dates on this, right? Because I pulled this article up. However, this article is actually from October 23rd of 2017.
Ah.
Okay, so here we are in 2019.
Almost 2 years. Yeah, 2019.
And we don't have shit almost 2 years later. And coming very soon, this team was going to be dropping this. I probably should have looked at those dates a little closer, Bubba.
Well, no, I mean, it still provides for stimulating
Let's
discussion.
do this. I'm going to look up this TTS AAS.
Uh-huh.
Well, we got time. Right?
Well, yeah, we got time, but I'm laughing because I'm wondering what it's going to pull up. It's like some sort of a hard drive device or something.
Right.
Hard drive connecting device.
To the Stars Academy. They have a website. The ParadigmResearchGroup.org. So I'm just looking through articles here.
I said that a couple of times. I want to go a paradigm shift.
Let me go news. Experts. What the hell language is that in?
I don't know. But
they're all in like Dutch or some shit.
If any of this stuff actually ever happened, we wouldn't have no problem knowing about it.
Okay, here we go. This is from Best Techie. I'm a huge Tom DeLonge fan, but don't invest in his latest venture. This is from, what's this from? BestTechie.com? Fucking, who the hell is this? Yeah, I don't trust that website. Well, I clicked news, okay?
Yeah.
And this is the thing. Like, the results that we're getting here are not news sites.
One of them looks like Japanese with a UFO picture in black and white.
It does, yeah. So
that should be a red flag. If UFO pictures in Japanese come up along with what we're looking for.
To the stars, right?
Yeah. I think we're probably already well past the time of seeing.
Well, here's the thing. I think we've already figured the answer out to this fucking question.
Probably.
That this is all bullshit.
Yeah, because it's been almost 2 years. October 17th will be.
If there was some advanced space age technology that was going to revolutionize,
we would all know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nothing happened there.
So this seemed like, that's what I meant. It seemed like a sales job to me. Like, oh, we're going to be the ones getting this secret technology. And then the Department of Defense goes, hey, that dude don't speak for us. But we're going to make deals, we're going to make relationships and shit with them. So the instinct seems to be correct here.
Articles like this that make people want to go out there on September 20th.
And go storm a highly classified military facility, which we still don't recommend.
I'm still excited about it.
But I'm definitely want to watch the train wreck. Or I'm sorry, I want to watch the event as it unfolds.
The event.
See what happens. Maybe a UFO will come and land like right on top of that thing, man. And then that'll be it. It'll be like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right?
Yeah, they'll taunt us. You guys suck.
Good Lord. All right, man. Hour and 41 minutes. We'll call it there.
All right, sure.
Sound good?
So you done with? You got all the articles?
That was all of them,
okay.
Bro.
All right.
We had some good ones tonight, though.
Yeah.
Even though I should have checked the date on that first one, because now I feel like we wasted everybody's time. No, we did. It was fun to talk about, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is what's important about that, right? Like, if we speculated on the actual potential things that might occur, right?
Right.
So this would be what you would have expected to have happened had this actually been true and did happen in the last 2 years, right? If it did happen like they were actually saying it would be, these are the things that you could expect to be reasonably true that would happen, right? These things would be, you would have to consider them for yourself and as a community and as a whole populace of the planet. And even though I'm skeptical about life on other planets, I'm open-minded enough to believe that still could happen, and that if it did, you have to put a little bit of thought into how you might handle that situation or what might happen in the world that you might have to face. And
there's there's an entire community of people out there. Like, I use the term community very loosely here. There's a lot of people out there, let's put it this way, that supposedly have this world-changing, paradigm-shifting energy technology that's going to change everything. Mm-hmm. And they're looking for investors. But they can never make something that works. They can never validate their claims. They can never back any of this stuff up. And all they do is seem to take investment money.
And you're talking about your direct experience.
I have firsthand experience of this.
And people doing
multiple
this.
times.
Yeah.
Yes. Firsthand experience of this multiple times.
Right. So one would assume that if anybody had anything of any substantiated quality, that there would be absolutely zero issue finding backers, money, publicity, security, whatever it would take to get this off the ground.
I'll tell you what my lawyer told me one time. I have a real good friend of mine that's a lawyer. He said, Matt, it's easy to testify when you're telling the truth. People that it's very easy to lawyer somebody that's not lying. Okay? That's kind of what he's getting at. And it's the same thing in these cases. If your shit does what you say it does, it's very easy to prove.
Yeah.
Okay? There's no convoluted path you have to go through to prove it. There's no, you can only use my instruments. You can only use my devices.
The money would follow.
And very easily, if you could prove it, the money would just, it would just follow. Yes, absolutely.
And there wouldn't be any boundaries if it was truly game-changing, right?
And I know this because the people with the money employed me to disprove this shit.
Right.
Because before they invested huge amounts of money in it.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm a dick, right? So I don't mind asking questions.
At the right time, and that's good.
But I've yet to see anything that actually lives up to its claims.
And if anything like that did exist,
by the way, that's not designed in a just an absolutely traditional way. Like I've seen some like external combustion engines and stuff that absolutely do what they say they do. That's really interesting. And temperature differential engines and stuff. I've seen this kind of stuff, and it's legit as fuck, but it's not bending any laws of physics to do it, and it's absolutely repeatable. No matter which lab you do it in or who does the experiments, they work, right? They can be recreated. So that kind of stuff, but it's not doing anything exceptional. But yeah, there's a whole community of people that just run around with like these weird, I call them snake oil devices. They demonstrate them in very controlled environments, and then they get people to give them shitloads of money.
Right, and nobody ever benefits in the end. There's
the person that gets the money, that gets
aside from them, I mean, nobody in humanity gets to benefit from anything that's no
actually
game
derived
changers.
from it. Yeah, nothing ever happens with it.
I mean, because that's why we hope that this would be a true thing.
Would be a real thing, yeah.
Because it would be good for people.
Well, it definitely hits on that sort of theme that when you really start, no pun intended, but when you really boil things down, what you get to is that there's only really certain major problems in the world. It's not like there's so many derivative problems of major problems in the world, right? There's a lot of those. But when you really start getting down to the issues of humanity, they kind of distill down into some very fundamental issues, right? Can I eat? Am I safe? Can my children eat, and are they safe? And can I survive? Yeah. And if you can somehow, if you could somehow with technology eliminate those concerns or mitigate them, because you'd never eliminate them, right? But if you could mitigate them to such a minute level in the human condition, that necessarily really fundamental things would start changing.
Yeah. And
right? Mm-hmm. That's really deep shit, man.
Well, yeah, but we know that there are a lot of people who are working on devices that are supposed to be these game-changing devices, and it's not just the Sapphire project and stuff. It's other projects too that we've heard about.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the Z machine and stuff. Yeah, that too.
Fusion reactors and
and man, I want one of them to come through. I really do.
I do too. Yeah. I want something to work.
Yeah.
I would want it more than anything in the world.
Because I think we're capable as a species of deserving that. I think that we should be able to unlock that and have something good for a change. We've been able to show that we can harness information and power to destroy. It'd be nice to see us be vindicated and be able to use some of these discoveries for the benefit of humankind.
Yeah, advancement.
Yeah,
advancement of humankind kind of thing, huh?
Yeah, even if it is alien technology.
I just said that my own comment was deep.
It is.
God, how much ego's in that, bro? Man, I'm deep, dude.
Deep EB.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening, everyone. Check us out at www.noshitcast.com. It's KNOWSHITCAST.com. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you, especially Eric. Make sure you give us a rating on iTunes, etc. If you like what we do, give us a share. We'd really appreciate it. We'll catch you all next time. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye, Ziggle.